The long-awaited matchup is finally around the corner. You know what I'm talking about. The UFC 286 bout between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. Safe to say Usman will be looking to win it. In fact, the Nigerian Nightmare doesn't want to win the fight. He needs to. UFC President Dana White made the announcement at the post-fight news conference for UFC Fight Night 217 on Saturday.
I told you guys where you heard Leon Edwards and Usman is finalized.
Edwards will attempt to defend his title for the first time in his home country. After knocking out Usman for the 2022 Knockout of the Year at UFC 278 in August, his winning streak, which started with his first bout against Usman, has increased to 10 after that victory. But Usman has his eyes set on breaking it, as he plans on getting some redemption on Edwards. After losing his last UFC fight, which unfortunately ended his 15-fight winning streak, the Nigerian Nightmare was almost on his way to beating Edwards and claiming victory. But at the last minute, he was stopped by the shocking head kick finish. However, he still has one win against his opponent, a unanimous decision from their fight at UFC on Fox 17 in December 2015.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman.
But the real question here is, does Usman really have what it takes to beat Edwards? I definitely agree. The Nigerian Nightmare is one of the most talented MMA fighters in the world. As one of the best strikers in the UFC, he has quickly risen through the ranks since making his debut in 2015, and currently has a record of 20-2 in the UFC. But how did he get to where he is today? Well, Usman was just a young boy when he immigrated to Dallas, Texas with his family from Auchi, Nigeria in 1987. He was a wrestler before he started his career as a professional MMA fighter. He trained in both freestyle and folk-style wrestling, and even competed in a tournament with UFC heavyweight John Jones when he was a high school senior. How cool is that? But Usman switched his focus to mixed martial arts after he had trouble making the 2012 US Olympic wrestling team because of injuries. I guess every cloud does have a silver lining. But the thing is, as talented as he might be, his opponent Leon is no joke. Beating him isn't going to be a walk in the park. I can say that for sure. Rocky is the current welterweight champion in the UFC with a 10-game winning streak and a record of 20-3. He's known best for his powerful strikes and incredible takedown abilities. Leon's journey in the MMA started when his mother encouraged him to join an MMA gym as a teenager to distract him from his difficulties in life. It was at that point that his life began to change direction. He began to take MMA seriously and wanted to become a professional fighter. Over time, Rocky developed a real love for the sport, and the trainers at the gym began to notice his natural talent. Due to his efforts, he was eventually added to the UFC roster. Even though Leon lost to Claudia Silva in his first UFC match by a split decision, in his following fight, he knocked out Seth Baczynski in just 8 seconds to earn a first-round KO victory. Just 8 seconds. With a powerful left strike, Edwards knocked Baczynski to the ground. He went to throw more strikes, but the referee stopped the fight and gave him the win. This shows just how powerful his one-punch knockouts are.
Vámonos de inmediato.
Sí, Baczynski ya empezó bastante.
¡Ah! ¿A dónde le dicen a Baczynski? Y así lo mandan a dormir.
His 24 professional MMA fights have resulted in literally no finishes, which is quite an accomplishment in itself. 2 of his losses were by decision, and 1 was by no contest. So it's quite apparent that our man isn't here to play and joke around. He means business. But of the 2, who's going to win this bout? Well, the odds might just be in Usman's favor. Rocky will enter the octagon with a record of 20 wins, 3 losses, and 0 draws. And of those wins, 7 were by knockout and 3 were by submission. Kamaru Usman will enter the cage with a record of 20-2, with 9 wins coming via knockout and 1 via submission. Judging by this alone, Usman does have a slight advantage over Edwards, with a 45% knockout percentage compared to Edwards' 35%. The numbers favor Usman when deciding who has the upper hand in a fight. 4 years younger, at age 31, Leon Edwards is the younger man. He's taller than Usman by 2 inches, but regardless of that, Usman has a reach advantage of 4 inches. At this point, it kinda seems like this might be an easy win for the Nigerian Nightmare, but you have to consider the fact that Edwards has the upper hand in terms of experience because of his 1 additional bout and the fact that he made his debut a full year and 5 months before Usman did in 2012. But the number of rounds he has fought professionally is 67, which is 1 less than Usman's. There's only one thing that could possibly stop Usman from defeating Edwards this time around: his alleged hand injury. The original plan was for Leon Edwards, the new welterweight champion, to defend his title against Kamaru Usman in an outdoor stadium. The stadium thing was scrapped, and recently rumors started circulating that Usman won't be ready to fight in March because he has allegedly injured his hand. While the Nigerian Nightmare is remaining tight-lipped about the matter, he did attend a mixed martial arts tournament in Lagos, Nigeria, while sporting a hand brace, which is definitely not a good sign. The fighter does have a long history of injuring his hands, and in November 2021, he actually battled against Colby Covington while suffering from a broken fist. He had surgery to mend ligaments in the same hand in February 2022, and now there's this rumor about another possible hand problem. Even if it is too early to make any firm conclusions about Usman's health and his capacity to fight Edwards in March, something is definitely wrong with the longtime 170-pound Kingpin's hand. Whatever it is, I certainly hope it doesn't prevent one of the year's most highly anticipated rematches from happening as scheduled. But let's say things do get worse for the fighter, and he's unable to take part in the bout. What will happen then? Well, there are other fighters that could potentially take Usman's place, like Jorge Masvidal. Currently on a 3-fight losing streak, he has suffered 2 losses to former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, and 1 to his rival, Colby Covington. Despite Gamebred's lackluster recent record, and the fact that his last victory was a cut stoppage against Nate Diaz in 2019, the Miami-based fighter could potentially replace Usman in the bout. Why? Well, Edwards has stated that he would like to defend his title against Masvidal after he defeats Gilbert Burns at UFC 287 this spring. So what could be better than having it happen sooner rather than later? Other than him, Belal, remember the name Muhammad, has openly voiced his interest in replacing Usman.
I can't get a call out?
Okay, go ahead and call somebody out.
Come on, Joe.
Who do you want to call out,
Come
bro?
on, man. I just want to fight, dude.
He told the Schmo that he hopes that Kamaru backs out from the bout and that they call him out and bring him down there to replace Usman. According to him, no one ever knows what could happen. There are fighters that get injured on the day of or the day before their bouts. The UFC has done backups for every single title fight, so Belal doesn't see why they wouldn't want to put him on that card. If not, then he's game to replace Usman. At this point, though, I have to say, it's anyone's game to go up against Edwards for the title bout. Well, that's all on everything you need to know about the UFC 286 bout between Edwards and Usman. See you in the next video.